Okay, I said let's do it, and Brett's like, "Fuck yeah,
boom!" I was waiting for the last 10 minutes, man.
Let's get this show on the road, motherfucker. All right, oh shit, I swore again. They're saying at least they're recommending when I download a show, don't curse in the first 30 seconds.
Yes,
and I just did.
I can't tell the number of videos I've been watching recently, like live streams, and they're like, "Oh, can I curse?" And like, you absolutely can because it's within X minute or whatever it is, So it's just like the robots are sifting through all of our videos.
Well, none of our videos except for one has been banned or demonetized completely. We had one.
What a weird one. It was the David Ochoa one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was for some sort of weird, like offensive to certain.
You said groups. Mexican too many times, I guess. I don't know.
Oh boy, yeah. Like you can't say that. Like Argentinian, Swedish, American, Canadian, Mexican. You're allowed to say those things. You're allowed to. That's how this works. And the other thing that upset me, mildly, is that I had a couple comments that were deleted off of our YouTube page. I replied to the one guy who was talking about like, Grant Wall said, U.S. soccer lets you say whatever you want, so don't worry about access and all that shit. And I replied to him, and he erased my message.
You said silly duck, didn't you?
I didn't say silly duck.
I said, Derek, you've learned from this. Don't say silly duck. I've said it twice on the podcast. This might get canceled.
I think I said fugging, Fugging. And they erased that. And then they had, the bot posts. And I was going through those. And one of them, they post one word. One of them said large or something. And I replied, Brett's ego.
That's
and
then
right. One of the
my wife always says, she goes, man, if I had just a fraction of your confidence, I wouldn't be with you.
I have no idea why you are as confident as you are, but I have no clue why that is. But that's your upbringing, right?
Yep.
So, and then the next one was Grant, right? And I thought, okay, I'll be funny. And I replied, my cockenspiel. And they deleted that. My cockenspiel's not even a fucking word. And they deleted that. So I guess we should just be happy they're not deleting our shows.
Sounds like YouTube has a thing with Germans and Mexicans. You can't.
That's not a German word. Cockenspiel is not a fucking German word. Spiel is, but not Kocken. Kocken's not a word in German, as far as I understand. I might be missing something. It might be in Old German or something. I've never heard anybody say.
There's Spanglish, where it's like English and Spanish. What's the English and German combination?
It's cockplay. That's just, and I meant my cock was grand. I literally meant, I was trying to say my cock was grand in their reply, because their bots just put big words like sensational, awesome, great, fantastic, grand. I don't know how that works. I don't know how anybody gets anything out of their bullshit posts, because are you really going to click on that link right below that word?
I hope nobody does. I hope nobody does.
God,
they make it look like a timestamp. Like, oh yeah, this segment, great. And you click on it, and all of a sudden you've got malware up your butt.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a virus all of a sudden. All right, let's get to their questions, Brett. Jesus Christ, I knew we were going to get that conversation in though. What do you think of CBS putting all the U.S. away games on Paramount Plus instead of CBS or CBS SN? Seems like I can't read that. Seems like it's basically what he's saying is that, it's an imperfect sentence, that it's basically, this is a great opportunity to expose the U.S. men's national team, but we're losing.
It's not up to the USSF. Having game on a streaming service compared to a national channel, basic channel that you can get with rabbit ears. It's not going to be on CBS unless it's like a massive game. It's going to be on Paramount Plus because that doesn't cost CBS much of anything, and it forces people to go into their streaming services, pay the whatever it costs Paramount Plus. I ended up paying that.
I did too,
because I realized that in order to get those away matches, I'm gonna need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it sucks. You're already paying your basic cable, right? And then the game's not even on CBS. Like, what else does CBS have to fucking put on at that time of night? We're talking about 10 o'clock at night. It could be
Star
on CBS.
Trek. It could be on CBS. You're right.
Some other fucking rerun that they're playing at the time. Or, you look at a lot of those sports channels like the CBS Sports Network. They've got nothing on that fucking channel. It's all on Paramount. You go to NBCSN, and that might as well be called the Meekum car auction channel, because that's all that's on that channel 100% of the time. All right, not 100% of the time. This is what you called exaggeration, but it is like when they don't have anything to air, that's all they do. They just put Meekum on, and they do it for like hours and hours on end. And it's sad that a lot of these channels not looking for content, real content. Soccer would be a great place for them to go to get that content and to fill those gaps and those holes. Well, but no.
And
I love Meekum, by the way. Yeah. I love that show. I love old cars, but come on, I can only watch so many hours of it.
And something to consider too. It's also possible that, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, what have yous with the contracts with the, CONCACAF away matches and stuff like that. But maybe it's financially viable for them to have it on the streaming service, which may be more available to people around the world, not necessarily around the world, but I don't know where Paramount Plus reaches, but it might be more viable.
It's on the internet. It reaches everywhere.
It doesn't, not all the time. There sometimes
except for China.
You have segments of the world that can't access certain streaming services.
All right,
but regardless, I feel like most of the first world, can actually access Paramount Plus, I'd imagine. But I wonder if there's something in there that has it's got to be available to more and more people. I don't know. I can't imagine that being the case, but
I have to say I am enjoying, for the first time. I have never watched the series. I'm watching Picard on Paramount Plus. Watched the first 2 segments last night. I'm in now. I'm in deep. I've got to watch them all now. So I've
heard nothing but bad things from it. So, and the people who watched it all the way through. So I'm not gonna spend the time on it. My time is quite valuable to myself in the sense that I've got a lot of other YouTube garbage that I need to filter through my brain that I can't spend watching a new series. And I'm very selective on my new series too.
Me too. But I love me some Jean-Luc Picard, and I know there are lots of things that are broken about that show already after 2 shows. I've watched it. I'm like, that doesn't make fucking sense, but that's okay. Sure. I'm going to watch it anyhow. I'm a sucker for a good time. All right. We dropped to the next question is we dropped to 13th in the FIFA rankings. Any thoughts? Not really. That's probably about where we're supposed to be.
Derek, the sky is falling. Oh my God. Seriously though. 13 is probably closer to where we need to be. Just looking at the teams within the top 15, top 20 even. 10 was always a little questionable. We have talented kids, and maybe come 2026, I know that a number of pundits talked about this, how right now they're young and inexperienced, but come 2026, I mean, they're going to be world beaters. Maybe then top 10 could be a thing, but I mean, I felt like top 10 was reaching for us.
Yeah, personally. I think the big criticism was from people on Facebook. How could Mexico be in front of us? We just beat them in 2 tournaments. And just because we only had 2 ties and a win in the first 3 games, how does that drop us below Mexico? Yeah, I don't know. That's the way their little computer works. And you can go on FIFA and they will map out to you how the math works in a general way. And you'll get some idea how it works. But folks, we did just tie El Salvador and tie Canada. So yeah, those are not good results. I can see. I don't know how we slid down behind Mexico, although they did win their first 2 games.
Well,
So
in fairness, we were always behind Mexico. Mexico was 9 going into the window.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they were 9. Because people were pissed about that. Like, we just beat them twice. How are they ahead of us? Well, I mean, they were ahead of us to begin with, and we were like up in the 20s, and then all of a sudden we dropped down to 10. They went up, but we just didn't crisscross. It's a numbers game, guys. FIFA rankings are nothing but numbers, and they adjust them accordingly if they think that the numbers may be not working properly. Like when the US was ranked 6 in 2006, things need to be a little bit adjusted there.
Well, they were adjusted, and then some people are saying all this shit is meaningless anyhow. Well, it's not totally meaningless, because once we get to the World Cup, that's how our name is being drawn out for pot 1, pot 2, pot 3. If you're in pot 3, you're going to get in a rough group. So you want to have a higher ranking and be in pot 1 and 2.
Saying so that, though, let's jump back to the 2006, because I'm not 100% positive when the pots were pulled and where we were ranked at the time. But I know going into the 2006 World Cup, we were ranked 6, but we weren't a ranked team, so we weren't in that first pot. So
yeah, they were doing things. They did it differently then.
Okay,
they did, but now the rankings absolutely choose the pots. But it also has to do with region. So you can't have like 2 teams from the same region or federation in the same group if you are in the Americas and in Africa. So there's all kinds of complicated shit you got to work into the math there. So being number 6 didn't really help us that year that much, but it wasn't the worst, group in the world either for us. I mean, it could have been worse, actually. So yeah.
Yeah,
it's good. The higher your rank, the better. Bottom line, but it's not like I'm not losing any fucking sleep, okay? Because we're 13th in FIFA rankings. So
life will go on.
Life will go on. Life goes on for everybody, including Vitas Gerulaitis, who, if you don't know, was a tennis player in the 70s, and he got beat 16 times in a row in finals by Jimmy Connors. And he said in an interview after he finally beat Jimmy Connors, he said, "No one beats Vitas Gerulaitis 17 times in a row."
I could have sworn that you were going to say Jimmy Conrad for whatever reason when you were saying it.
No, thank God I didn't.
Holy shit, he was in the 70s playing tennis and then came in the 90s, 2000s.
Jimmy Conrad is an old soul.
Fucking baller.
Hey, Jimmy, if you're out there.
What's this dietary repetition there? Jesus.
I haven't heard from you for a while, so answer your text, buddy. All right? Because you were supposed to be on this show, upcoming show.
No, we keep bringing him up on that whole we're focusing too much on formations quote. Maybe he's pissed off with us.
Yeah, maybe we pissed him off.
Why do you guys keep talking about me like that?
Yeah, I doubt it.
No, it's not that.
Jimmy doesn't give 2 shits about that. So anyhow, we're hoping to have Conrad on the show. We do know we have confirmed Brian Schroeder will be on the show. I believe right after the October games. We're going to have him on to analyze everything. So stick with us there. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we'll be back with the final questions of the night.